Hello and welcome to another windowsguide.info video tutorial. This tutorial is going to explain the family safety features, how to set up a new child account and enable the family safety features to help keep your children safe while using the computer. So to set up the family safety options, we need to be logged in as an administrator, and we need to go to your desktop, and then we bring up the charms bar, and we do this by holding down the Windows key and pressing C, and then we click on settings, click on the control panel, and then we see user accounts and family safety, and we click on that. And now we have the option to add or remove user accounts, and we want to add a child account, so we click on add account, and now we click on add new user. Click on the add an account option. Now we want this to be a local account, so click sign in without a Microsoft account. Click on local account, create a username, password which yourself and your children will be able to remember, and then click on next. Check the box to say that this is a child account and click finish. Now we want to set up an account to control this child account, so select your account, okay, so that's done. Now we want to go back to the desktop, so you can hold down the Windows key and press D. And now click set up family safety and click on the account that you have just created. There are a number of options. We're going to go through them all one at a time. The first option is web filtering. So click on web filtering. You can set it to they can use all websites, or you can set it to only use websites that I allow. Now you can list individually which websites that you want to block or allow. So you'll enter websites addresses in here, and then click either block or allow. The other option is to set a web filtering level, so we can click on designed for children. Okay, and now we'll go back to user settings. Now the next option is time limits. Click on time limits. Set time allowance. You can say there's no restrictions on when they can use it, or how long they can use it, or you can say Monday to Friday they can use it for a certain number of hours and minutes, and on the weekend you can set a different period of time that they're allowed to use the computer. Now you can also set the curfew. So let's click on curfew. You've got two options. They can use the computer at any time of day, or you can specify what time of day that they can use the computer. So to do this, we click and hold down the mouse button and drag to highlight the areas that we don't want them to use the computer. So we're saying between midnight and 6 a.m. we don't want them to use the computer, and we're also going to say that from 7 p.m. until midnight we also don't want them to use the computer. So you can set any time of day. You can actually set different curfews for different days, and when you finish setting the curfew, click on user settings to go on to our next option. Okay, next option is game and Windows Store app restrictions. So we click on that, and you can say they can play no restrictions, can play whatever they want, or you can restrict which games and apps they can play. You can block or allow specific games. So if we click on that, we see that it shows all of the games that you have loaded on the computer, and you can say whether they can play those games or if you don't want them to play the games. And you can also go into set the game and Windows Store ratings. So you have the options of R18+, MA15+, PG and General. So we can click General to restrict the games that they play to only games with a general rating. So now we'll click back on user settings, and the last one is desktop app restrictions. So you can also restrict the applications and say which ones they're allowed to use and which ones they aren't allowed to use. So if you want to restrict them to only use a small number of programs, select the tick all options and then go through the list of installed programs and untick the programs that you want to allow them to use. Go back to the user settings, and you can see that we can also view activity reports. And so this will show which websites that your children have been accessing and tried to access, and the times when they were using the computer and which applications and games that they were using. So as you can see, there's a lot of options available to help keep your children safe, and it's also a good idea to have your computer in a location where you can also supervise them while using the computer. So I hope you've enjoyed this guide.